Today we're talking all things EV mandate and how that impacts you. Let's get into it. All right, so there's three main things I want to address here. One, let's go through a quick history of what this is, how it's impacted us so far, and what are the steps looking forward. Two, let's talk about what's changing, because there have been some changes in the last couple of weeks that I think we should all be aware of. And then three, I want to understand both from the existing mandate and the potential future changes. How does that impact us as existing EV owners? And then also, how does that impact those who own gasoline vehicles as well? It sounds like it was presented first in February of 2023 and then approved and actually put into action in December of the same year by the existing government led by Justin Trudeau. The premise of the EV mandate is fairly simple. Basically, by 2026, the government wants to see 20% of all new vehicle sales be zero emission vehicles. Then by 2030, we want to see about 60%. And by 2035, a full 100% of vehicles being sold should be zero emission vehicles. Now, all of this understanding actually hinges on two very important things. Number one is your understanding of what a zero emission vehicle is. So for the government of Canada, they define a zero emission vehicle as either one of two things. One, a fully electric battery operated vehicle, so such as our Kia EV9, where there's no gasoline engine in any way whatsoever. And then two, a plug-in hybrid vehicle that has more than 80 kilometers of range on battery alone. So here's where things get kind of interesting though. This regulation, the EV mandate, does not apply to anything above 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight, and GVWR to be specific. So that is the full weight of the vehicle plus everybody in it and all of their stuff. Now, what this means is, looking at new vehicles, I can take an example like Dodge Ram. So there's different trims of the Dodge Ram, obviously. And where the cutoff is a bit weird, but basically a Dodge Ram 2500 is actually 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight right on the nose. But the 3500 is way above that and would not qualify and need to qualify for this EV mandate. At least that's my understanding at this time. And this could change very quickly, and I also could be very wrong on this. But doing my due diligence, this is what I found. Now, a caveat here, I did see a couple conflicting numbers even from the Government of Canada website, so I'm going to take what I saw on Statistics Canada, which is light duty is anything up to 10,000 pounds. There's a couple that say 8,500 pounds, which would actually just support my argument here even better. Now, the point here that I'm trying to make is that for those individuals that need to do long distances in the cold, towing or hauling something and a large amount of weight, these regulations actually probably won't affect you to a certain extent. Now, depending on where that weight limit, like I said, is going to land, that may affect a medium duty versus a heavy duty truck, depending on how the manufacturers classify them. But there's always going to be that option of getting into that more beefier vehicle that will go through the winter at this time. The other thing about it is that EVs are getting better and better at managing their cold every single year. And hopefully that this becomes kind of a moot point in the future. All right then, so what's changed? Well, basically there's a big thing happening right now, and there's a lot of conflict and tension between Canada and the US right now. And that's caused some concern by the auto manufacturers that they will not be able to meet this target. So in response, our current Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has actually delayed the targets by a full year, and it's undergoing a 60-day review to ensure, the best thing for Canada's economy at this time. Now, it's impossible to know exactly what pressures are being faced by the auto manufacturing industry and if we can take them at their word, but I think the only thing we can do is believe what they're saying currently and understand that what they've told and the argument that they presented to our current administration is valid and true. Personally, I'm always here to see the pressure create a diamond kind of a situation and to see just what kind of an incredible product could have resulted from this, but I'm not in their position, so I can't say. At this time, there doesn't seem to be any real indication of what the end goal is with this mandate. Even at the end, I don't know if we're going to still have an EV mandate or if it is just going to be revised to a better standard to include different types of vehicles, maybe even just regular hybrids in this. I don't know. It's really interesting, and I'm keeping a close eye on it to see what happens for the future of everyone, and including the future of Alberta. So what does this mean for drivers right now? Well, for one, if you're a current driver and you have an EV, not much is changing for you. The only thing that I can think of that's a negative is that if this mandate does go away, then the motivation to complete charging networks and to further improve our charging infrastructure, which is where I think one of our biggest deficiencies is right now, that kind of goes away, and it does become harder to see that go through. But who knows, maybe that will continue to grow even though that this doesn't get regulated. And for gas drivers, honestly, it's a toss-up. I don't know where you guys are going to end up landing on this or what your opinion of this is. Personally, for me, I am happy to see the fact that there is some flexibility in the way that the definition of zero emission vehicles has been defined already. One of the things that could be a potential problem is that if we do continue to have a zero emission vehicle policy, but we continue to not have any funding left for incentives for drivers who maybe want to get into this now versus in 10 years, that's going to be a hard path, considering that the electric vehicle price is, I don't know, 15 to 20% higher than the standard gasoline version of it. It's a hard cost increase for a lot of individuals. I do really hope though that there will be further clarity on what type of vehicles are going to be eligible, so that current owners can start to see a path that may be acceptable for them if they're affected by this mandate. Anyways, those are some thoughts and some facts about this particular thing. I hope that helped clear some things up for you if you were curious. There's a lot in the change and we don't know, so I'll probably try and do an update video in the future on what's going on. Thanks so much for your support. I know this is a new channel for me. I'm trying to figure this out. Anything you can do to help, like, subscribe, I would love it and appreciate it. Thanks so much.